All right, welcome to tonight's meeting of the Clyde Sukeforth chapter of SABR. I am Bruce McClure, the chapter chair, and we always hold our meetings in conjunction with the Gardner-Waterman chapter of SABR in Vermont, Dr. Clayton Truder, chair. Now, in the usual tradition, because she's here tonight, we're going to kick things off with a poem from Joanne Hulbert. Joanne, where are you?
I am right here.
There you go. Right. Go get them.
This is a great opportunity. As many of you know, I do kind of accumulate baseball poems, and it just so happens in my parodies file of 154 poems, I have 9 Shakespeare baseball parodies. But lucky for you, out of the 9 of those poems, one of them is short enough to read. The others would carry on all night. They're very long, just like Shakespeare. But anyway, here's this one in honor of what Max is going to be doing tonight. So anyway, the modern Hamlet. To drink or not to drink, that is the question. Whether it is better for the health and pocketbook to suffer from the effects of drinking beer, or by stopping it, play better ball and end the headache. And all other ills drinkers are heir to drink or else be fined. Aye, there's the rub. For in being fined oft repeated makes poor men of us all. And so we adopt the resolution not to drink again, for within the pale of the fine stands suspension, which when once adopted doth make us turn away and lose the name of ball player. And that was written in 1903. And you can get your very own copy if you read Sporting Life, page 26.
Oh gosh, that's fantastic. That's what, Joanne, you're a treasure. Thank you. I appreciate you so.
Go ahead. All right, everybody can take a chance to go out and hit your head against the wall somewhere, but really, honest God, there's 8 more poems, more to win or not to win. I won't even get going. There's a whole bunch of them. Yeah, my favorite start on one of them is, where is it? Yeah, to bunt or not to bunt. That is the question, whether it is nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of the outraged bleachers or gain their approbation by a swing. Well placed and well advised. Okay, all right, I'll stop. Or the 9th inning, to wait or not to wait. This is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in this game to suffer the taunts and yells of the outrageous fans, or to dodge the curves and drops of an erratic pitcher, or to, and by my coolness, escape them to wait, to walk no more. And by a walk, we say we stroll. I won't go on because it's this long. I'll stop.
I don't know how we follow that up, so I'm going to actually change my script and follow that up with something good. I want to say congratulations to our membership lead, William Highland, and his wife, Summer. They welcomed their first child, Diana Emery Highland, to this life on October 9th. Mommy and baby are doing just fine, and we couldn't be happier to hear the news. William, if you're watching, congratulations. Many happy returns. This is great news, and thanks for sharing. All right. I don't even know how I follow Joanne up here. We are still looking for submissions for the inaugural Clyde Sukeforth chapter newsletter launching in January 2026. All SABR members are invited to contribute. We're especially interested in research articles, personal essays, and book reviews of 1,000 to 1,500 words. Reviewed books may be newly published or have a Northern New England connection. Poetry, photography, and artwork will also be considered, Joanne. And here's your chance to name the newsletter. We're looking for a name that reflects the character and identity of our Northern New England region. A few good examples are from around SABR, such as the 11th Street Eagle in Northern New Jersey, the Elysian Fields chapter, the Magnolia Magazine in Atlanta, and the Baltimore Chop in Baltimore. The contest will run from November 1 through November 15th, and you can send your email submission to Megan Hanna, who will put her email in the chat tonight. Or you can just drop your submission into the chat in any meeting. And if you want to do it tonight, that's just fine too. After the submission window closes, chapter members will have the chance to vote on their favorite. The winner will receive a book from the Springsteen Library and bragging rights too. Ben Abel.
For those of you that are Star Trek fans that listen to Joanne's poems of Shakespeare, have you ever heard some of those poems translated into Klingon?
Oh, Lord.
Yeah,
you're losing control of this meeting rapidly.
Well, no, I'm just saying. right? They were translated into Klingon for one of the Star Trek movies, Star Trek 6, The Undiscovered Country. That's pretty funny.
We could have Joanne start reciting poems, Ben translate them into Klingon. I mean, this could be one heck of a meeting. All right, I got to get Maxwell on here. So here we go. The year was 1958. Canadian comedians Johnny Wayne and Frank Shuster were invited to appear on the Ed Sullivan Show for the first time. But how would they make a best first impression on their brand new audience? Following the advice of Jacques Barzun to know the heart and mind of America, they wrote and performed a Shakesperean baseball game, beginning as the hosts of a local radio show in Toronto in 1941 and culminating with the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. Wayne and Shuster were as ubiquitous in Canada as Eaton's catalogues and singing Mounties for nearly half a century. Along the way, they helped to redefine what it meant to be Canadian, influencing generations of comedians on both sides of the 49th parallel. This presentation will outline who Wayne and Shuster were, while explaining their historical significance and discussion where baseball fit into the picture. Maxwell Cates' baseball odyssey has taken him from his birthplace of Ottawa to his adopted home of Toronto and innumerable points in between. He has spoken at SABR conventions in Seattle, Houston, Baltimore, and Minnesota. In 2018, he and our friend Bill Nolan co-edited Time for Expansion Baseball, and his essays have appeared in 4 issues of the National Pastime. A chartered accountant by profession, his speaking engagements apart from SABR include the University of Toronto, the Leimund Conference, and the Canadian Baseball History Conference. A Wayne and Shuster fan even before he was a baseball fan, the presentation which you are about to see was originally prepared as a paper for the Houston-based Pecan Park Eagle. Maxwell Cates, welcome back to Northern New England, my man. How you doing?
Doing just well, thanks. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. It is all yours. I'm stepping aside. This is going to be fun.
It's great to be here. Thanks for having me back with the Clyde Sukeforth chapter representing baseball research interests in Maine and New Hampshire. But we're not here to talk about Maine and Hampshire. We're here to talk about Wayne and Shuster. And as Bruce pointed out, even before I was a baseball fan, I was a Wayne and Shuster fan. And one of the big highlights growing up was Saturday nights before Hockey Night in Canada. They would show half-hour segments of the old Wayne and Shuster shows. And a few times a year there'd be a specials with new material. And then one day it stopped. No announcement, no explanation, but no more Wayne and Shuster. To the point that about 10 years later, I was a sophomore in university, and I was taking a history course taught by Michael Wayne. And he quoted his father as having said that we Canadians celebrate Thanksgiving in October because the Pilgrims sailed too far south. I turned to my classmates and asked them, do you know who Michael Wayne's father was? No one knew. I said, you mean you don't know Johnny Wayne? You mean the Duke? No, not the Duke! The frontier psychiatrist! Anyways, they didn't know him. A little while after that still, I learned of another comedy act around the same time as Wayne and Shuster, same type of humor.
Oh, what happened here, Janet?
But a different country, and that was Morecambe and Wise over in England. And I went to England, I watched the shows, I'm thinking, this is exactly like Wayne and Shuster. The only difference was everyone still knew Morecambe and Wise. You can get their DVDs at the BBC gift shop of all their series. You can only get one DVD of Wayne and Shuster at the CBC gift shop. And that's kind of why I'm here, to educate people about who Wayne and Shuster were and why they were important. And when the late Bill McCurdy gave me the opportunity to write about them in the Pecan Park Eagle, I took that opportunity. And then earlier this year, Bruce asked me to lecture about something about Canada. I said, I've got just the thing. And so here we are. And let's get Molly, Molly? Where's Molly?
Molly. Next slide.
Yeah. So these were the opening credits of Wayne and Shuster in the 70s. And it was the same opening credits when they rebroadcast the old episodes. Next slide, Molly, please. For half a century, Johnny Wayne and Frank Shuster fronted one of the most popular and memorable comedy acts in Canadian history. Their genre was literary comedy, spoofs and satires which fused literary classics with contemporary popular culture. One of their big influences was William Shakespeare. Hamlet became Western Hamlet. Macbeth became The Hassle at the Castle, and Julius Caesar became Rinse the Blood Off My Toga. And here's Sylvia Lennox reciting the most famous line of all from Wayne and Shuster, "Julie, don't go." At the conclusion of The Hassle of the Castle, officers Lammermoor, played by Wayne, and McPhee, played by Shuster, discover William Shakespeare hiding in the bushes and writing a play at the Battle of Birnam Wood. What to name the play? McPhee suggested All's Well That Ends Well. Lammermoor had a different idea, a comedy of errors, which is when Shakespeare said, "I shall simply entitle it Macbeth." Lammermoor and McPhee looked at one another and said, "Macbeth? As you like it." All right, what happened here? Do not adjust your monitor. It's only the Macbeth curse, of course. If it wasn't, where's the sketch? Nice. Wayne and Shuster was also about enhancing their vision of Canada. Both Johnny Wayne and Frank Shuster hailed from immigrant families at a time Canada consisted of two solitudes. Wayne and Shuster envisioned a progressive and multicultural Canada where everybody belonged irrespective of ethnic or geographic identity. Wayne used to say that my job was to make the guy in Saskatoon feel special. Here's Johnny Wayne with Hex Gervais, Doug Maxwell, and young Alex Trebek at the CBC World Championship Curling in the early 60s. At that time, Canada did not have a national flag, a national symbol, or even a national anthem to speak of. It was an age when Oscar Brand labeled Canada as a young land that's still young with a legend that's still unsung. Canada would not adopt the unifoley as its flag until 1965, the beaver as its symbol until 1975, and O Canada as its anthem until 1980. Johnny Wayne decided to do something about the lack of Canadian songs and wrote Charlottetown in 1964, with a strong influence by Anthony Newley and Leslie Brickus, and we have a recording of that right now. So, Molly, if you could please play the recording. If you want, I can play it.
I'd like to sing a patriotic song for you. You know, most countries have national holidays that celebrate very glorious and soul-stirring events. The overthrow of a tyrant and the storming of a prison, or a bloody revolution to win independence. But what do we Canadians celebrate? Well, nothing very glorious or soul-stirring. Some politicians got together in a place called Charlottetown and decided to form a country. That's all. No heroes died. Nobody got his head cut off. In fact, no one even got scratched. Actually, it was kind of peaceful and dull. And somehow, isn't that the most glorious and soul-stirring way to start a country? It all began without the sound of war, without the clash of battle, without the cannon's roar, without the outstretched sword, but with the outstretched hand. They just sat down in Charlottetown. They just sat down in Charlottetown. They just sat down in Charlottetown and built themselves a land. It all came true. without a trumpet call, without a song of freedom, without a flag at all, without a mighty charge, without a gallant stand. They just sat down in Charlottetown. They just sat down in Charlottetown. They just sat down in Charlottetown and built themselves the land. What a day when this nation came to be. What a glorious day that history. It was a day of peace and not a day of strife. And so the way of peace became our way of life. And so it all began. It was really crap. They just sat down in Charlottetown. They just sat down in Charlottetown. They just sat down in Charlottetown and built themselves a land. They just sat down in Charlottetown. They just sat down in Charlottetown. They just sat down in Charlottetown and built themselves a land.
Charlottetown.
Nick.
Wayne and Shuster were ahead of their time. One of the first popular songs about Canada was Running Back to Saskatoon by the Guess Who in 1972. And here's Burton Cummings performing on Wayne and Shuster a year earlier. One of the ways Wayne and Shuster accomplished this was by bringing ethnic references into their material. The idea was that it would be perfectly acceptable for people to be comfortable displaying their ethnic attributes and still be Canadian. It was a time when many American comedians were reluctant to bring their heritage into the acts. In 1978, Wayne and Shuster aired Saturday Night Feeble, fusing Pygmalion and Saturday Night Fever. Shuster played the disco impresario Manjack Wolf, whereas Wayne played the dancing star John Fafolta. Fafolta is Yiddish for all washed up, as in laundry. John Fafolta, a school crossing guard, became the world's first 84-year-old sex symbol, and his dance craze, inspired by the hustle, was the schlep. 6 months later, the dance craze was over, and the front page of Variety screamed, John Fafolta, all washed up. Frank Shuster was born on September 5th, 1916 in Toronto, raised in Niagara Falls, Windsor, and Detroit, where his family operated a series of theaters and cinemas. He joined the Projectionists Union as a teenager and remained a proud member until the day he died. While Shuster had the theatrical background, Johnny Wayne was naturally funny. So funny, his picture disappeared. He was born on May 28, 1918 in Toronto. His real name was Lou Weingarten and was raised in Kensington Market, where he developed a reputation as a prankster. And I spoke with one of these students who went to Jewish school with Johnny Wayne. His name was Murray Green, and he remembered Johnny bringing his collection of flies in a jar to school. He would line them up on the desk, and he would have them race in the middle of the class. The rabbi found out about this. The rabbi was about 4 feet tall, and he had a stick that was nearly 4 feet tall, and he knew how to use it. And he started chasing Johnny Wayne around the room to punish him. And then Johnny Wayne disappeared. Where did he go? He wasn't in the hallway. He wasn't in the synagogue. He wasn't in the vestibule. The rabbi didn't check the girls' washroom. He went in there until the coast was clear, opened the window, jumped out, and ran home. Wayne and Shuster met in the Boy Scouts and performed together at Harvard Collegiate and UC Follies at the University of Toronto. They hosted Javek's Wife Preservers on CFRB 1010 in 1941 and were hired by the CBC a year later. Wayne and Shuster served in His Majesty's Army during the Second World War before returning to CBC in 1945, and in 1954 they appeared in their first CBC television special. In 1958, Wayne and Shuster made the first of 67 appearances on The Ed Sullivan Show, setting a record among human performers. In 1961, they hosted Holiday Lodge as a summer replacement series for Jack Benny. When offered to move to the United States, Wayne and Shuster chose to remain in Canada. Now, Johnny Wayne's son, Brian, told the story. He was 9 years old when the phone rang, picked it up, and on the other end, "My name, Jack Benny." And he was calling to try and arrange for Wayne and Shuster to be this summer replacement hosts. And I was listening to the story and I said to Brian, I don't believe you for a minute. Jack Benny's phoning long distance from California? He was calling collect! Wayne and Shuster were not baseball fans. Shuster was an avid golfer, and Wayne's favorite spectator sports were football and hockey. But Wayne and Shuster felt that baseball was a good way to appeal to American audiences when they went on Ed Sullivan. This was the original Shakespearean baseball sketch from 1958. Based on Casey at the Bat and written in iambic pentameter, Shakespearean baseball stars Shuster as the unnamed Stratford manager, and Wayne is the noblest catcher of them all, the mighty Yogi who was embroiled in a prolonged slump. Shakespearean baseball was later rebroadcast in 1971 with Johnny Wayne as the mighty Rocky, and 1977 with Johnny Wayne as the mighty Thurman. What I normally do when I give this lecture is I show Shakespearean baseball now. But what I'm going to suggest we do, because we all want to get to the game, is we continue on with the lecture, go to questions, and if there's time at the end, we'll play it then. 1971, Citizen Kane was parodied with Citizen Wayne. Citizen Wayne's marble was from Carrara, his teak was from Ceylon, and the echo was from Switzerland. What about the carpet? Houston, that's AstroTurf. Although the 1973 Montreal Expos fell short of winning the first National League East Division title, they remained the best baseball team in the British Commonwealth. They were the only baseball team in the British Commonwealth. But seriously, the disappointing finish did not prevent the Expos from facing the Chelsea Grouse, a fictional British team, in the first Commonwealth pennant. The Sherbrooke Record reported bowler-hatted home run hitters drink tea between strikeouts and show how reserved British ball players can be under stress. 5 years later, Stan Daniels wrote a song called "Everybody's a Comic," which Wayne and Shuster performed on their show. In one sub-sketch, Frank Schuster asked Tom Harvey at a Blue Jays game, "What's the score?" Tom Harvey answered 2-0. Frank Schuster asked, "Who's winning?" And Tom says 2. That's Tom Harvey with Kermit. In 1982, The Mask of Zorro was parodied with The Mark of Zero. Schuster plays the Commandante, who's described as the most implacable man in California, to which Wayne answers, "He's Fernando Valenzuela's lawyer?" This was actually based on an actual event. Amid Fernando Mania, and after winning the Rookie of the Year and Cy Young Awards in 1981 and the World Series, Valenzuela held out in spring training for more money. Overhearing the acrimonious contract dispute, which was conducted in Spanish, manager Tommy Lasorda surmised that, "I think he wants Texas back." By the 1980s, comedy was becoming edgier and more aggressive. Consequently, critics panned Wayne and Shuster's literary humor as archaic and out of touch with the times. The monthly series of Yesteryear was replaced by a few special episodes per season. Wayne and Shuster were asked to reformat one of their specials as a movie for children, and thus in 1988 the CBC aired Once Upon a Giant. Lester the Jester, Wayne, and Humphrey the Physician, Shuster, were thrown in jail for intercepting the wedding of Princess Marigold to the evil Prince Malocchio. In jail, they meet Angelica the Good Witch, who appears magically when people are in need of help. So Johnny Wayne asks, where was she when the Blue Jays needed her? 1 year before, in 1987, the Blue Jays were embroiled in a 4-team pennant race with the New York Yankees, the Milwaukee Brewers, and the Detroit Tigers. Sports Illustrated jinx. With 1 week to play, the Blue Jays were leading the Tigers by 3 games. The Blue Jays proceeded to lose all 7 of their last games, including 4 one-run decisions to the Detroit Tigers, who eventually won the American League Division title. The Tigers won the final game 1-0 on a solo home run by Larry Herndon, October 4th, 1987. Winning pitcher Frank Tanana, losing pitcher Jimmy Key. And unfortunately, I couldn't find a picture of this, but included in the 51,000 spectators wearing full Blue Jays regalia was Johnny Wayne. His picture was in the Toronto Star that weekend, I remember. Wayne and Shuster aired their final television special in 1989, and a year later, on July 19th, 1990, Johnny Wayne died of cancer at age 72. Frank Shuster continued to work for the CBC, hosting Wayne and Shuster in Black and White from 1995 to 1997. He was made an Order of Canada in 1996, and he died after a long illness on January 13th, 2002, at the age of 85. The legacy of Wayne and Shuster's comedy continues on both sides of the 49th parallel. Shuster's daughter Rosalind was once married to Lorne Lipowitz. Now known as Lorne Michaels, he founded Saturday Night Live in 1975 and continues to oversee the popular comedy program. And this is what Alec was talking about. SCTV were indeed influenced by Wayne and Shuster, as were Russell Peters, Norm Macdonald, and the Royal Canadian Air Farce. You may remember an episode of Seinfeld where he's sitting in first class while Elaine is sitting in economy. That sketch was originally done by Wayne and Shuster. Now, when I gave this lecture before, I made one error, and this was the error. When I said that Wayne's World was influenced by Wayne and Shuster. Wayne's World had nothing to do with Johnny Wayne. The character of Wayne Campbell, created by Mike Myers, was his idea of the ideal suburban Canadian male of the 1980s. That Mike Myers grew up in a family. His parents were immigrants from England, and he wanted more than anything to be Canadian. He thought that by assuming the Wayne Campbell alter ego, he could do that. Nothing to do with Johnny Wayne. Two songs by Australian artists, Dollar Bar's Wayne and Shuster and the Avalanche's Frontier Psychiatrist, were both inspired by Wayne and Shuster. Johnny Wayne's sons Michael, Brian, and Jamie, as well as Frank Shuster's daughter Rosalind, continue to promote their work of their fathers. Wayne and Shuster were inducted into Canada's Walk of Fame in 1999. They had a Toronto street named after them in 2019. And sadly, Frank Shuster's son Steve died in 2017 at the age of 66. And if Molly, if you have the tape ready, I'm going to play the theme song, the closing theme song, not performed by Wayne and Shuster, but performed by Norm Macdonald. We have the tape ready with the sound this time? You want me to try? Can everybody see this?
We are back to everybody on the screen. So where do you want to be, Max?
Can everybody see this? The screen says goodbye, Norm Macdonald.
So you're not sharing. I shared the video, so you need to share. Go down to the bottom of the screen, hit the share button.
Oh, here we go. Can everybody see this now?
It's not coming up, Max. I'm sorry.
You're not seeing it?
No, is it should Molly be sharing again?
Oh, I gotta press. Duh.
Oh, there we go.
How many?
This is what I just showed. This must have been one of Norm's last bits, huh?
This is from 2018.
He wasn't long for this world then.
No, he had only 3 more years.
Ugh.
So let's go back to the
Does Molly have any more to share for you? There we go.
any more slides? Yeah, that's the last one.
Would you like to see Shakespearean baseball? Max, shall I share Shakespearean baseball?
Sure. Do you want me to share it?
I've got it right here.
Okay.
It's
Do you
only
have the sound?
7:30.
Do you have the sound? If you don't have the sound, I have it here too.
Okay. Bear with me.
Take your time.
Off we go. We'll get the commercial first. If you can hear that, give me a thumbs up, somebody.
Nope. No. Bruce, I've got it here. If I can probably, if I figure out how to. All right, so let me. Sorry, I know what I'm good at. I know what I'm not good at, and this is one of the things I'm kind of not. So we'll.
There it is, coming. There we go.
Can you see?
Show by a young, charming Barbara Walters.
Born and raised here in Toronto.
And we died many times here, too.
You know, people always say it's a great place to visit, and I wouldn't want to live there when they come to New York.
Yeah.
But,
And they're quite right about it.
tell us what it's like to live here. So obviously, you've never wanted to leave.
Well, this happens to be a funny kind of a city. I think it's the greatest city in the world, but the charm about this city is that it doesn't come on too strong. You're the only guy that does Shakespeare that I enjoy. When we come back, you gotta come back. You gotta. She wanted to talk about Toronto and Canada. Joe Garagiola, then and once again co-host of the Today Show, he wanted to talk about the Shakesperean Baseball Game. Well, we'll do better than talk about it. We're going to show it. Here are some highlights of a sketch we consider our personal best. The Shakesperean Baseball Game, a comedy of errors, hits, and runs.
Bosworth Field, a baseball stadium near Streatham. Hey, Bernardo. I give you greeting, Antonio. Thou hast the starting lineups? Aye. The batting orders duly signed by manager's book. 'Tis well. What o'clock is't? 'Tis at the stroke of 2. Hark! The players come. To our appointed places shall we go. You at first and I behind the plate. This game depends on how you make your call. Farewell, until you hear me cry, play ball!
I think it froze up on you.
Can everybody see this?
Yep, there we go. And the sound went out.
By all that's holy in our
Here we
game,
go.
I shall not rest until the pennant over Stratford fly.
Noble manager.
Call.
'Tis I, Richard.
Speak, O faithful Richard.
I pray you tell us, how does the starting lineup go?
'Tis as it was before with Harry, Joe, and Pete out in the field. Rusty, sire, now the shortstop spot shall play, and you three guarding your accustomed bags, Sam the first, Bill the second, and Richard the third. And that's most noble Sandy. Sire, hide these bullpen so that if our pitcher from his box is knocked, you shall go upon the mound and take his place.
I go.
For this relief, much thanks. Don't speak, noble manager. A word. Speak, O faithful Rusty. Where is the captain of our team? The mighty Rocky. The man whom all the sports reporters call the noblest catcher of them all. Alas, the mighty Rocky sits in yon locker room and mopes, and well, he might, but in these last 10 games he has not hit the ball. Not even once. Yes, hitless has he gone, and 20 times has been called out on strikes. But soft, he counts. He led the league in RBIs, and now he reads the record book. and cry. Oh, what a rogue and bush league slob am I. Is it not monstrous that this pair here, but in a fiction, in a dream of passion, should gaze upon the record book and find that he is 10 games hitless gone? Oh, cursed fate, that I who led the league should now bat 208. For a hit. Once more to hear the welcome crack of bat upon the ball, and then to run from first to second, and then to third, and then to deep for home. Slide, slide, slide! Aye, there's the rub. There's a divinity that shapes our ends. Catch our shortstops. Give me your hand. 'Tis gladly given. Play well, valiant captain. Now remember, today's game is being televised. Televised? And the TV shall record each passing play. TV or not TV, that is not the question. We shall play with might and main. Out goes. Not well since the bottom of the ninth with one away, and they do lead us by a score of 1-0. Who's next to bat?
'Tis I, Macduff. Ready am I to do thy bidding, sire.
And take thou thy bat and hie thee to the plate.
I go.
How goes it, cousin? A chance to stim with every pitch. 'Tis one away. Macduff is at the plate. Lay on, Macduff, and watch out for that breaking stuff. Come on, Ed. And foul. Upon him, that ball was fair. It was indeed. You, Sina! That ball was fair. That ball was foul. So fair a foul I have not seen. Sit knave with heart as black as coat you wear upon your back. Get thee a pair of glasses. Get thee to an optometrist. Gods had made thee more poetical.
Okay, good.
Summer about discontent.
Okay, good.
Just one chance. You have to win the game. Who's next? 'Tis I. You? Married? Oh, my friend, with aid divine, and hit that Pepsi-Cola sign. See how the valiant Rocky stands at the plate like a mighty colossus, a bat resting gently on his shoulder. But soft, here is the wind-up, here is the pitch. No, I cannot look, the sight doth sear my eyes. The ball did strike his head. The pitcher beaned him. He comes this way, I cannot look. Fine hero Brown. Alas, poor DeRocher, I knew him. A man of infinite lift. I would have fought thee violence, but they withered. For it's not only hitless, but witless. To our that spot, I again, walk in shadow. A fool player that hits and bunts his weary out upon the field, and then serve no more. In the town owned by an umpire, full of sound and beauty, signifying 1-0. The noble head. Catcher, flights of shortstops sting thee to thy rest. Like four bonus players, bear Rocky like a soldier to the dugout.
trading the bum to Montreal. Exeunt with a flourish of fat boys.
We will make sure that everybody has links to the videos that you saw tonight. They'll be available in the description of this recording when we put it up on YouTube. If you have a question for our guy Maxwell Cates tonight, go down to the bottom of the screen and hit the react button. You'll see another button marked raise hand. Raise your hand and we'll get you in line to ask questions of our presenter tonight, Maxwell Cates. How many times did they perform that skit?
We know of 3 different versions that they performed. The original one in 1958, the one which you just saw in 1971, and a 3rd revision in 1977. How many times they performed each of those editions? That I'm not sure. They would have had. They performed it on television. They performed it in assemblies, in public venues. Probably hundreds.
Wow. And they weren't necessarily baseball fans at the outset, right?
They weren't baseball fans at all. I mean, Frank Schuster was more of a golfer than than a follower of any spectator sport, and Johnny Wayne grew up a football fan, and after he got married, his wife was a big hockey fan, so he became a big hockey fan. Neither of them were terribly interested in baseball, according to Brian Wayne.
But now one of them had season tickets at one time, right?
Johnny Wayne had season tickets to the Leafs. I don't know that he ever had season tickets to the Blue Jays. He may have.
Misunderstood. Okay, but he was there for one of those playoff games.
He was there. He was in Detroit for the game between the Jays and the Tigers right at the end of the season.
That's right.
And I remember seeing the picture in the Toronto Star. He was wearing a full Blue Jays uniform. He had the pennant. He had the foam finger. He was
fantastic. He
was there going, "Go Jays." He was, I guess, around 69 years old at the time, and he was as boisterous a fan as anybody.
Has anybody brought this back to life on Canadian television since the Blue Jays have gone on this run?
Brought Wayne and Shuster back to television.
Brought this skit back to life and re-aired it or discussed it on Canadian TV.
You mean besides us? I don't think so.
Wow.
Now they did show it in Wayne and Shuster in black and white. They did show it in some of the specials, the retrospective they've had recently. Where they did show it, actually, in 2018, Stratford had a Wayne and Shuster Appreciation Day, the Stratford Festival, and they did show a version of this skit there. They also did a Reader's Theater of Julius Caesar with actors who were performing in a legitimate version of Julius Caesar as part of the Shakespeare Festival that summer.
I can only imagine what those folks were thinking as they were watching. Oh, Lord. I get a kick out of the way that you, Max, can take a subject that you wouldn't think could be connected this closely to baseball and connected this closely to baseball. It's unfortunately with Zoom, sometimes re-showing video tends to be wonky, of course, with the video with sound. So I'll make sure that everybody can see that performance with a link in the recording. But this is fun stuff. How did they only perform for the Ed Sullivan Show once?
No, they were on Ed Sullivan, depending on who you ask, around 66 times.
Whoa, really?
More than any other human guest. I mean, the mouse was on more often than they were, but they were his most frequent guest.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Bill Humbert's got a question. Bill, go get him. How you doing?
Very well, thanks. My favorite line from Wayne and Shuster, and maybe we can do this one, Maxwell, because I'm sure you know it. One of them walks into a bar and goes up to the bartender and says, "I'll have a Martinez, please."
You mean a martini?
No, if I wanted more than one, I would have asked for it. Now, some of their humor would be based on what they would have done in high school in Latin or Shakespeare. I don't know if any of that humor will ever survive, simply because they're not teaching some of that stuff as much as they used to anymore.
Nor are they teaching Shakespeare, nor are they teaching the classics. The one Wayne and Shuster joke that I have perpetuated close to 40 years now, also to do with alcohol. I'd walk up to a bartender and say, "Can you make a Bloody Marvelous?" I said, "What's that?" I said, "Well, you know what a Bloody Mary is? It's vodka and tomato juice. You remove the tomato juice and replace it with vodka." And the bartender says, "That's vodka and vodka. What kind of a drink is that?" "Bloody marvelous!"
Max will be appearing in the Flamingo Room Thursday, Friday, and Saturday of this week at 7 and 9:30. Don't forget to tip your server.
No joke, Bruce. I actually did perform in the Catskills. I actually did perform in the Catskills.
Wait a minute. Hold on here. Wait a minute. What?
Yes, I performed in the Catskills. I told one joke. I got booed off stage, and I was done in 5 minutes.
And how long ago was this?
1988.
What was the joke?
What was the joke?
We're amongst friends, I guess, and
can I keep recording this?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay.
This couple in Washington, let's call them Ron and Nancy. They went to a French restaurant. The waiter asks, "Oh, madame, what would you like to order?" She says, "I'll have a steak." "How would you like it done?" "Medium rare." "Would you like a potato, is that?" She says, "Of course." She goes, "And what about the vegetable?" "Oh, he'll have the same." Picture to the showers.
Craig,
well, there he goes again.
Help, Craig, help.
Hey, great job with the presentation, given the technical limitations. But I'm just wondering, what did they do on the big show the other 65 times they were on it?
Oh, they did. They had a collection of different skits. They did the Brown Pumpernickel, I'm sure. They did different incarnations of Pygmalion, different incarnations of the classics. Some of the skits I'm sure they repeated. But yeah, they were invited back time and time again.
Wow.
And they actually knew Ed Sullivan from a theater group in the 30s. It was a political theater with chapters in Toronto and in New York. And when I found out about this, I said, "You know who was in that theater group?" In the New York chapter was Will Lee, who played Mr. Hooper on Sesame Street. They said, absolutely they knew Will Lee.
Oh, God.
I can only imagine Mr. Hooper on Wayne and Shuster.
Oh, my
He fit in
gosh.
perfectly on that show.
Joe Ross. What's going on, Joe?
The story about the martini was my favorite. Wayne and Shuster line. I remember that forever. But I have you beat on the Catskills, Max. When I got married, we had our honeymoon in the Catskills, and Johnny Carson was the headliner. And when they did the cards and then they ask you questions, and I filled out one of the cards, I actually got applause because Johnny called on me and said, "You're on your honeymoon." "Yes, I am." And he said, "Well, what are you doing down here?" And I looked at him and I said, "At these prices, who can afford to be up there?"
I did not know that.
Oh, man.
I got a nice ovation from it. That was my sole Catskill appearance.
Very nicely done.
We are we are moving from baseball to amateur stand-up comedy. I love it. Ben Abel, save me. What's going on, Ben?
Well, I just wondered how many people in this group are Canadian besides me. Joanne, maybe because she's got a Canadian flag. I think maybe some of this humor, some of this stuff may not be gotten quite as well if you're not born in a place like Vancouver like I was. But I watched Wayne and Shuster as a kid on CBC. So, and there's a lot of stuff in there, like when you're mentioning a lot of people. I think the Stratford Festival, I wonder if they're referencing their famous Canadian Stratford Festival when they're doing the Stratford sketch, because that's a Stratford festival that's been going on for decades that does Shakespeare amongst other classics. I've never actually been to it, but it's world famous.
He's right. He's right. It's fun stuff. Molly in the
funny.
chat. I'm part French Canadian, so there. This is great stuff. All right. We're back not Monday next week. Listen up if you're one of our regulars or if you want to attend next week. We are back on Tuesday, November 5th, with the great John Racanelli and his presentation, Baseball's Mad Scientist, James E. Bennett. I saw this in Dallas. It's fantastic. You've got to see this. The sign-up link is available in the chapter meeting booklet and in the SABR events calendar. And finally, if you're a baseball fan watching on YouTube and you like what you see, please like this video and subscribe to our channel to be alerted to each of our weekly uploads. And if you are not yet a member, you need to join the Society for American Baseball Research, the premier baseball community. Offering an amazing baseball buffet of options to explore your fandom, SABR boasts more than 35 different research committees, over 80 regional chapters, and innumerable opportunities to connect with baseball minds across the world, just like Max Cates. For more information, go to sabr.org today. Max Cates, you're hilarious. You're great. Thank you very much for doing this. We really appreciate it. And you made your goal. You got us out so we could watch Game 3.
Hi-yo!
Yes!
That's for Joe, Ed McMahon.
There you go. Perfect. Perfect. This is supposed to be fun stuff. We're supposed to have a good time. Let's get everybody out of here.
It's supposed to be fun.
That's right. Let's get everybody out of here so they can go watch Toronto win tonight. Yes. All right. We'll see you next week. Have a good night, everybody.